If you're looking for the ultimate comparison of the new Cobra DS-Adapt drivers, don't go anywhere. The new 2025 driver line for Cobra is incredible, and I'm going to explain the differences in numbers right now. Golfers, welcome back to the channel. It's the beginning of the year, and that means testing time. Equipment testing. I particularly love comparing clubs. And today, you're going to figure out which particular Cobra driver is right for you. I'm going to be going over the Cobra DS-Adapt line for 2025. Well, those particular four drivers are the DS-Adapt LS, DS-Adapt X, DS-Adapt MAXK, and DS-Adapt MAX D. Typically, Cobra has 3 drivers in their line, but they have actually added the MAXK this year. We always talk about that 10,000 MOI. I think Ping started it and other manufacturers are not far behind. Well, a combined MOI of around 10,000 is extremely high. Now, is that going to result in straighter drives? We're going to find out. You're going to figure out which driver is the lowest spinning driver head, which one is definitely the more draw bias, which one's the straightest, and which one performs best for you. Let's get right to testing. Let's first start off with the DS-Adapt LS. So LS means low spin. I would assume of the 4 drivers we're testing here, this is going to be your low spin bomber. Let's take a look at some numbers and see what we can find out. I will notice when I place this club down, definitely the face looks like it sits maybe just a little bit more open than what I'm used to. I do know that the CCs, so the size of the club head, is 445 versus 460 with the other 3, so it does look like a slightly smaller profile, slightly a little more pear-shaped, so it looks pretty good. And that was definitely a low spinner. That was slightly on the toe side, so that's definitely way too low that I would like to see. 1,425. That one was pretty good. A little higher launch. And that one we got out to 334. That's pretty far. Yeah, that's a low spinner. 1344. Yikes. Same thing, that felt kind of like a low spinner again. And I did not hit that one very well. So this is where this club's going to be very beneficial if you're a golfer that spins the ball a lot. That was not a very good strike. If we take a look at the spin on that, 1,200 slightly up on the high toe. Not doing that any justice. I'm not saying 1,200 spin is good. It's definitely too low. But if you're a golfer that spins the ball over 3,000, this is going to be good for you. I'm not that golfer that spins the ball over 3,000. I'm usually around about 2,000 with my driver spin. Yeah, same thing, kind of low spin. All right, let's hit a few more so I can get you some numbers here to look at. Now you mention it. Quick look at the DS-Adapt LS spin driver and just take a look at those numbers briefly before we hit the other drivers. So we were getting ball speed at 166.1, launch at 13.2, spin at 1600, carry 298, going 328. I think the biggest takeaway here is spin. You can definitely see this is a low spinner. If you're a high spin golfer, this is gonna be a great golf club for you. If you typically spin the ball already low, this might be trouble. Next up to test is the DS-Adapt MAXK. So MAXK means this is the fully draw bias club head. So let's hit some shots and see what we can find out. I can tell you what, as soon as I put this club down, compared to, especially going from the LS model to this driver, this club looks closed. It definitely looks like I'm going to have a hard time leaving this one right. It looks like I'm going to hit this thing straight left. So let's see if that works, see if the draw bias works here. Oh yeah, that is moving left. And with a little more spin than the previous driver. I think we were looking at about an average of about 16 or 1700 spin with the LS model. Well, that was 3100. Yep, don't think I'm ever going to have a problem missing right with this driver. So if you slice the ball, this is your club. That was real consistent. That was almost the same exact shot. Those dots are right next to each other. This makes taking the right side out of the golf course so easy. Let's hit some more shots and give you some more data to look at. Biggest takeaway for me with the draw bias MAXK head is the ability to get the ball going left, and also the spin that was associated with it. It was a drawing golf club or hooking golf club. It was definitely moving left. So if you're a slicer of the golf ball, this is a great club for you. But definitely the spin rate was up there too. So the ball was going to stay in the air really well. Not quite as fast on the ball speed. Launch was definitely a little bit higher. Spin significantly higher than the LS head, and then you'll see distance 278 going 296. So quite shorter, definitely flying higher, but left every single time with this driver. It's a great draw bias head. Third up is the MAXK driver. So MAXK 10,000 MOI, just another one to add to that list. Combined MOI, forgiveness is so important. So this would be a very good golf for those golfers that hit it all over the club face. Let's see how it performs with regards to numbers. I will say when I put this club down, it looks a little bit more like the draw bias club head I just hit, but it doesn't look like the face is closed. So similar profile. And that might be the straightest drive that I have hit so far. Get on the line. like that. And that one was a little bit high toe miss. But when I was hitting the low spin driver and hitting it up there, I was getting like 1200 spin. That was definitely not 1200 spin. That was, I think, 2400 spin. So consistency is key. That was pretty good for a miss hit. Yeah, this thing is just go straight. Just a little gentle draw that I like to see, but it goes pretty straight. Let's hit some more shots and give you some numbers. MAXK numbers were incredible across the board. I just couldn't believe how straight I hit this thing. So definitely forgiving. There was one shot I hit high toe and the spin rate was still right around 2000. I was really impressed with that. It was see ball speed, maybe not quite as high. However, look how straight it went. And it definitely was going further than the draw bias head. Even though it looked the same with the face more square, you'll see spin rate about 700 RPMs less than the draw bias head. So great numbers, really. If you're looking at a driver fitting and you want to get 2300 spin, launch around about 15, this is your driver. This was really good. And finally, the Adapt X. This is probably the more common driver that most golfers will fit into. I don't know why I left this one to last, but it's probably going to be the more traditional one that out of all the drivers that golfers will play. Well, let's hit some shots, take a look at some numbers. I mean, I can tell you, and it's exactly what you would expect. This thing looks-wise, it just falls like it's halfway between the MAXK driver and the LS driver head. It just falls right in between. It looks like it's definitely a slightly more open than the MAXK, but it looks a touch closer to the LS driver head. It's crazy how it just falls right in between. I feel like I hit that one pretty decent. Around about 320. Take that. Just a little bit more right with it. And 2100 spin. Felt pretty good too. It's going to be probably pretty similar numbers, maybe just a couple yards longer, just over 2000 spin. Very straight drive. This club's good. This club is what you would expect. It's the staple of the Cobra family. The DS-Adapt X, I swear I left the best for last. So what I noticed is this was very good across the board. A little less spin than the MAXK, right around about 2,000, but definitely significantly more spin than the LS had, but also flying straight. This was only going about 2 yards shorter than the LS had. So this was really impressive across the board. 165.7 ball speed, launch angle 12.6, spin 2,000, dead straight 299 going 324. It actually was carrying a little bit further than the LS had because it had more spin to keep the ball in the air. It's also going to fly straighter with more spin than the LS driver. This was a good one. Comparison time. So this is no doubt why all of you are hanging around this far into this video. So this is what we want to see. We want to see a comparison of all 4 driver models. Let's dive into it and find out. So first off, let's look at ball data. So what you'll notice here is ball data right around about 163.4 to 166.1 on the ball speed. As I was swinging all these clubs, you'll see as I look at all the shots, I was swinging at about 114 to about 116 miles an hour on every single shot. So you can see ball data, the fastest ball speed did come from the DS-Adapt LS. Not surprised. And you'll see that the DS-Adapt X was not far behind. If we look at launch angle, you'll see the DS-Adapt LS and the DS-Adapt X. They were launching about the same, about 13 degrees. I think the biggest difference here is if you look at these numbers, you can see spin. So we're talking about a range from 1,600 spin to 3,000 spin. That's a big, big range. Now remember, I was testing all these drivers at the same loft setting. So obviously if we were increasing loft or decreasing loft, that can also change depending on the driver head. But yeah, 1608 DS-Adapt LS, DS-Adapt X 2000, DS-Adapt MAXK 2324, and DS-Adapt MAX D 3022. On the spin carry distance, you can see 298, 299. Those 2 drivers are almost inseparable, the DS-Adapt LS and the DS-Adapt X. So those are going to be your longest drivers. What you'll notice is the DS-Adapt MAXK. If we look at dispersion, that was definitely the straightest. So they did their job. 10,000 K, 10,000 MOI, 10K, very, very important MOI. You can see it was flying the straightest. It wasn't the longest, but it wasn't the shortest either. It was down the middle every single time. And that circle was very small compared to all the others. And then if you look also at dispersion, you'll see the DS-Adapt Max D. That one was going left every single time. What I want to look at now is just kind of like the height and just to see what kind of height these balls are flying at, because I think that's really important. So these are all the shots, all the best 5 shots with each club. So what you'll notice is with the DS-Adapt LS, the peak height on average was 30 yards, so around about 100 feet. The DS-Adapt, we'll see here, the DS-Adapt at the other end of the spectrum with the highest, the draw bias head, that was flying 50 feet in the air. So definitely significantly higher. So that's, not 50 feet, 50 yards. So 14 yards, that's a lot higher than the low spin head. If we look at the Adapt X, it was flying 30 yards, 35 yards in the air. So just a little bit higher than the LS head, 5 yards higher. And then if we look, you can see 43 yards with the DS-Adapt Max, the 10K. So really impressive. I think the biggest takeaway that I noticed here was with the DS-Adapt Max 10K is consistency. So you'll see standard deviation of 174, 23, 24, 2100, 22, 2500 spin. Now we go up to the DS-Adapt LS, so a low spinning model, you'll see 1300, 1100, 13, 17, 24. So you'll see the standard deviation was quite different with regards to those particular drivers. So interesting test, really, really interesting. I am very impressed with all these drivers so far. I think Cobra is going to keep up in 2025 compared to all the other drivers that's going to come out. Come check me out if you want to do a club fitting. I am also club fitting. Check out thomascampbellgolf.com. I can do online club fittings, or I can do it in purpose in Minneapolis. Also, please subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching.